Yeah, let's get into it, man. Okay, so tell me, I want to first before like we talk about anything else, like I want to talk about some of the like the roster shifts that have been made, and this has been reported by Tom Pelissero, Brady Henderson here locally. So far, the Seahawks have weighed Jarek Reed, man. I like Jarek Reed, man. I'm just sad that he's gone. Jarek Reed's been gone. Let me give you the list. Long snapper Zach Trinner, linebacker Patrick O'Connell, linebacker Jamie Sheriff, and Marquez Valdez Scandling, defensive tackle Wakevius Booba Thomas, Ricky White the third. Man, I like this guy. Man, I hope he made it. He made the roster. Man, I was just sad that he didn't make the roster. And lastly, man, I'm very disappointed that Damian Martinez didn't make this roster because I think everybody was talking about how great of a running back draft this was. But maybe he's a practice squad guy. But just looking at that list, what are your initial thoughts, Tommy?
Definitely some surprises. There were some moves that we were anticipating pretty heavily, such as the MVS deal. Like we talked about last week, we ended up cutting him. We ended up.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, he didn't really show anything, and I think that's a really positive sign for Torrey Horton and the Seahawks' confidence in Torrey Horton. They,
yeah.
they were always going to play the same role, and it looks like Torrey Horton went in there and took that spot. So is kind of maybe shocking for some that it might be.
Mhm.
I think point blank that Marquez Valdez-Scantling just lost his spot to Torrey Horton, and that's that.
Yeah, which is a good thing, man. Imagine like your rookie, like you traded DK Metcalf, you needed that speedster, somebody who could stretch the field, and your rookie wide receiver just made the team, and kicked out a Super Bowl winning wide receiver. So that's a good man. That's a good development for the Seahawks.
That is a really positive sign. With all due respect, MVS, that is a very positive sign that our fifth round rookie wide receiver has come in and beat him out, because MVS has produced in the league, and for Horton to come in and do that and beat him out and play the Seahawks hand to the point where they're going to cut MVS, it's a good sign.
Yeah,
Another surprise was Patrick O'Connell to me.
yeah,
I'm a bit skeptical. If there's one thing I'm really skeptical about with the Seahawks defense is their linebacker depth. And I know Tyrese Knight has shown some positive signs in his return from injury, but it's a little scarce there.
yeah,
Part of me thinks the Seahawks do have a plan. Maybe there's a guy that's going to get waived on another team that the Seahawks liked, and they think they can get him on waivers.
yeah.
Perhaps that remains to be seen. But I mean, as we currently sit right now, I am a little bit concerned about the Seahawks linebacker room in terms of depth.
Yeah, yeah. Man, what happened to that linebacker from Michigan that the Chargers drafted and then they released, and then the Seahawks put on their and practice squad. What was his name again?
Oh no, I do know who you're talking about. But I can't think of it off the top of my head.
So yeah, man,
I
maybe he makes the roster spot, man, because Mike McDonald
yeah,
did
I mean,
did work with him. So
yeah, I'm interested to see what that room's gonna look like when we finally get our official 53 list. But
yeah,
yeah, linebacker. I think there's something else there. I do think there's something else there in terms of linebacker. I don't think it's going to be a big move by any means. We made our big move at linebackers, Ernest Jones, but I am interested to see what we're going to do in that department in terms of depth.
yeah,
And just to bounce over to the other surprise, Damian Martinez. He just lost it. Same deal as MVS. He just lost that RB3 spot to George Halani.
yeah,
Halani came out and played really well. He ran like a madman, and he went and took that spot. I mean, it's just a competition between those two. We knew, and with Kenny McIntosh out for the year, then it gave Halani a real chance to take that RB3 spot, and he went and took it. So good for him.
yeah,
A guy that was stuck behind Ashton Genty for most of his time at Boise State. It finally found his way onto a 53-man roster. So congratulations to George Halani. That's
yeah,
that's an incredible accomplishment. Um, but of course, Damian Martinez and Ricky White, I think those two specifically, and I'm sure Patrick O'Connell as well. I think the Seahawks would like to keep those three on the practice squad. Um, I think especially with Ricky and Martinez, they just kind of got pushed out with
yeah,
roster space. I think they just especially when you take two receivers in the draft and Ricky White being the second receiver taken of those two, it
Yeah.
was always going to be an uphill battle for him to make the 53. But I do think he showed some things that Seattle likes, along with Martinez. I mean, if you're going to use a draft pick on a guy, there's something there you like. I think they're going to try to bring them both back onto the practice squad.
Yeah. You know what this shows me also, Tommy, is that we have some special teams depth for real. Because these players that got waived, they're really good special teams guys. Jarek Reed, really good special teams guy. Patrick O'Connell, Ricky White. These guys are for real when it comes to special teams. They're tackling, they're getting off the rock. So, man, I think this shows like, hey, Jay Harbaugh's like he's loaded on his side.
Definitely, definitely. I think when it does come down to like those last 3 or 4 roster spots, like I said last week, it is special teams value. You
Yeah.
know, can you go out there and play special teams for us? Because that's what we're going to need you to do with where you're at right now before if there's any injuries, And so if you can go out and do that, that does give you an edge when it comes down to those final cuts.
Yeah, yeah. Also, hey, Brady Henderson confirming that Nehemiah Pritchett making the 53-man roster, man. Yo, I did not see that coming because, like, I thought maybe, like, they're good at, the corner spot. They're going to bring in somebody else, or because I didn't see him making the 53-man roster. I thought he would be, like, a casualty guy because, like, there was all these other spots that they wanted to, like, include. What did you think about Nehemiah Pritchett making the 53? Did you expect that?
I did actually.
Mm,
I think there are position groups where you should probably take more than you will with other position groups, and I do
mm,
think DB is one of those.
mm.
If you let a guy like Nehemiah Pritchett go onto waivers, I'm gonna guess he probably gets claimed. And I mean, he was a draft pick by Seattle, and
Mm.
they obviously saw something they liked. He showed some things last year, minimal at that, but showed some things. And I just think that in terms of depth, they want to keep working with them and see where that goes. Because Josh Jobe is holding down that weak side corner spot, but I don't think that Josh Jobe has shown enough to be like, this is our guy forever. And of course, we're going to have to pay 2 of these corners. So there's a chance that if Josh Jobe plays well, probably can't afford him his services along with paying Reek and Spoon.
Yeah,
So it's good to have corner depth. It's good to have corner depth with guys that you liked enough to draft and have shown some things. So I don't think I'm as surprised that he made
mm,
it.
yeah,
But now that's not to say that he's safe the entire year. I mean,
yeah,
that's why I said at the beginning of the episode, like, we're seeing what our 53-man roster looks like week 1.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, the rosters change throughout the year in maybe minimal ways, in some ways big ways, and I don't think that we have seen our final Seahawks roster for the year. I think that we're going to see some small, minimal changes throughout the season, shifting and moving guys up, down from the practice squad and stuff like that. So we'll kind of just see how
yeah,
that plays
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, man. I agree with you. I think, yeah, corner is always that premium spot. Like you wanna address. I just think like there was a lot of talent. Like they would prioritize over him, and they would kind of how do you say live to fight another day. Maybe just find a corner like somewhere like mid-season or like somebody who got waived or something like that, and put him on the practice squad. Maybe like that. So, but like I'm glad like if Mike McDonald thinks highly of him, hey, like this guy needs to make the 53. That just kind of shows me, hey, this kid has potential. But quick question, Tommy, what does this mean for Reek Woolen, man? Like does that mean like, hey, we're developing guys behind you, and if you don't play your ass off this year, like you're not getting paid?
No, I don't think it's that deep. I think none of these guys are on the level as of Reek as in terms of coverage corner.
Yeah,
I mean, does Reek have some flaws? Absolutely, absolutely. We've seen it. Some of them were really apparent last year. But I mean, no, I don't think Reek's in jeopardy with any of these guys in terms of competition and getting pushed out, and not with like the Seahawks losing their intent to resign. I don't really see that with the guys that we kept. behind him. Whether we re-sign Reek One or not is totally unrelated to, I think, who we kept behind him on the 53. I think that that itself will take care of itself, and it's his contract year, so we'll see what he brings.